Mr. Speaker, I rise today as a concerned American, concerned because our country stands at a crossroads in foreign policy and history, I might add. In recent days, we've seen this administration cynically abandon our Kurdish allies in northeast Syria and opened the door to a Turkish invasion. These decisions were made without consulting our allies, our distinguished diplomats, and regional experts like Ambassador Jeffries. Much damage has been done, and yesterday Presidents Putin and Erdogan have signed an agreement, I believe, that harms American interests in that part of the world. Hundreds of people have been killed. Tens of thousands have been displaced. Dangerous ISIS prisoners who have been killing and wounding Americans are now on the loose, threatening an increased international terrorist actions in Europe and the United States. And this is a real threat. Turkey's actions have shown that it to be a dangerous actor on the international stage, but it's not the first time. We must immediately impose meaningful sanctions to show our commitment to a stable international order and a rule of law, and Turkey must understand that. Clearly, the international reputation of the United States has, I think, been deeply damaged. As chairman of the Transatlantic Legislators Dialogue, I know our European partners ask me all the time. They ask me these days, are we together? Do we share the same values of the rule of law, of democratic freedoms? The United States should never, ever end up standing alone. The past few days also reminds us of another injustice that must be rectified. In 1915, the Ottoman Empire embarked upon a systematic deportation of 1.5 million Armenians. These innocent men and women, children, became the first genocide in the 20th century. Yet, as I stand here this morning, the brutal atrocity has still not received official recognition by our government that it deserves. And Turkey outrageously continues to ignore the voices of the survivors and the descendants around the world. Many of these survivors settled in my district in the San Joaquin Valley, where they've lived and where they've raised their children in the blessings of liberty, and they've made it in the American way. But this is not justice. The road to justice begins with full recognition of the Armenian people's suffering. Both Turkey and the United States immediately should recognize that the Armenian Genocide occurred, as the European Union has done. I am proud to support House Resolution 296, which, over the objections of Ankara, would establish permanent U.S. recognition and ongoing American remembrance of the Armenian Genocide. That's the right thing to do. I call upon my colleagues who have yet to publicly endorse this bipartisan resolution to join me with over 110 co-sponsors and calling for a long overdue passage by the United States House of Representatives. Mr. Speaker, the horrors of the Armenian Genocide can never, ever be undone. Words alone cannot comfort those who suffered, not dry tears of another mother who lost their children or grandmothers. By acknowledging the suffering of the victims through the official recognition of the Armenian Genocide, we can at least ensure that future generations will never, ever forget this atrocity to mankind.